This is the second public meeting of the James City County 2035 strategic planning process. I'm going to be walking you through a variety of different activities that attendees at the meeting today did. Today's Monday, September 12th, and this is the first session, the 2 to 4 p.m. session that we're going to be sharing the results of. There is another section at 6 to 8 p.m. which we will also be providing results post tonight. So a little bit of information about the strategic planning process. It's been going for about a year now. The James City County Strategic Plan is a document that will help set out the priorities for the next 20 years of the county, the specific capital projects and operational initiatives that the county will be investing in over the future. It's been a 5-phase process, and we're nearing the completion of phases 3 and 4. We have a couple more meetings of the Strategic Planning Advisory Group and Technical Advisory Group that have been assisting on this project. We're going to be meeting with the Board of Supervisors on September 27th to share the outcomes of these 2 meetings. And then our ultimate goal is to have a plan ready for adoption on November 22nd. These boards tell you a little bit about how the county is going to go about making decisions about public investments and strategic actions. We like to set it out in a simplified 4-phase process. So the first step is that the county sets policy priorities as part of the comprehensive plan or other planning documents. James City County recently updated their comprehensive plan just last year, and so that plan provides overarching guidance for the policy direction of the county. The second step in terms of making decisions about public investments and actions is setting the work priorities in the strategic plan, which is what we're doing as part of this process. Then that feeds into step 3, which is setting the funding priorities. So biannually, the county updates its budget and its capital improvement plan, its CIP. And this is where the county really makes decisions about what's going to get funded annually. The role of the strategic plan is to identify what the priorities are for implementation, and then those can get funded and put in the pipeline in the budget and CIP process. And from there, step 4 is where the county staff and departments implement the priorities, the specific initiatives and projects that are included in the strategic plan that have been funded get implemented. And then the cycle works around and around. And this will be a living document that will be amended over time. There are 2 main ways that will be updated. This board here shares those 2 schedules. The first schedule is the annual revision process. So the county will be looking at the strategic plan on an annual basis to look at how it is being implemented, what's been implemented that's in the plan, what's the performance of implementation, are we achieving the goals that we've set out in the plan? And there'll be some amendments some refinements made to the plan to take into account any unforeseen projects that may need to be folded into the plan, or budget considerations that we didn't know about when we were initially making the strategic plan. Things can change. So this will get refined on an annual basis to reflect those fluctuations. Looking ahead, the strategic plan will be updated every 5 years, and what we mean by an update is that the plan will be revisited as a whole, including the 7 goals that we have set out in the plan, to make sure that that's really the future focus that the county has and that those goals are still important. It's an opportunity to rethink what the goals and implementation initiatives and projects are for the plan. And that falls on the heels of the update to the comprehensive plan. So again, going back to this cycle, we're going to set the policy priorities first. So that comprehensive plan is going to get updated somewhere in the fiscal year 2019-2020 timeframe. And then following on that is when the strategic plan will get updated to better implement the policy direction that's included in the new comprehensive plan. So every good plan has a vision and a set of goals to lead the implementation of the plan, and this plan is no different. James City County's 2035 strategic plan has a vision which it comes from the county's comprehensive plan that was just adopted last year. And there's an excerpt here on this board. And again, that's the overarching vision for the county and what it wants to achieve over the long term. We've also, as part of this planning process set out a series of 7 goals, pulling from goals in the comprehensive plan and other community plans. we identify the 7 priority goals that the strategic plan will work to implement over time. And those are Goal 1, sustainable long-term water supply. Goal 2, modern infrastructure, facilities, and technology systems. Goal 3, expanding and diversifying the local economy. Goal 4, protected community character in an enhanced built environment. Goal 5, exceptional public services. And Goal 6, high-quality education. Finally, Goal 7, fiscally efficient government. On these 2 boards, we share the draft short-term operational initiatives and capital projects identified for the strategic plan. This is really important. These are the specific actions that will be taken to implement the strategic plan over time. On this chart right here, we have the capital projects that work to accomplish Goal 2, 5, and 7. And on this chart, we identify 3 different rankings that have been accomplished over the last several months. One of them, it was a fiscal and economic analysis where we looked at each project to identify what its relative benefit was in comparison to the other projects. The other 2 rankings provide information here in terms of the priorities that the Board of Supervisors and the Strategic Plan Advisory Group ranked. They identified their top 10 projects and their top 10 initiatives that they wanted implemented, and those rankings are listed here. It's important to note that if something got a low priority, it's not to say it's not important to the county, it just didn't make that top 10 list. On this board here, we have the short-term operational initiatives for each of the 7 goals, and these are the specific projects that county departments would implement over time. Again, these also have rankings for each of them that help identify how their relationship to each other and which are priorities or have different benefits. So we asked participants at the meeting today to tell us how they think the county should be investing in the county's future. We offered them here 7 boards, 1 for each of the goals for the strategic plan, and 1 board at the end, an 8th board that says don't fund, which is an opt-out if people didn't want to fund one of the 7 goals. And we gave each of them $110 million, 11 $10 million bills, and said, place those dollars where you think the county should be spending its money and investing in the county's future. Which of these goals would you like to be investing in most? And the reason that we used $110 million is because you just saw the different capital projects and operational initiatives that we have listed for the short-term projects and initiatives. And what we have calculated in a snapshot in time is that if we were going to do all of those things in one day, it would cost approximately $110 million. Now, the county, may or may not fund that over time. We'll see once we get to the end of this process. And what we wanted to find out at this meeting is how should the county be investing in its future? And what we learned is that each of the 7 goals did receive investment from the afternoon participants and a fairly even distribution across those 7 goals. So this is supportive of each of the goals that we've got in the strategic plan. The strategic plan should be a living document. It should not be a document that sits on a shelf and collects dust. And so part of the strategic plan is setting up a framework for monitoring, reporting, and amending the plan over time. This document needs to be informative. It needs to stay current with what the county's needs and goals are. So the first step is going to be monitoring the implementation of the plan over time, both in terms of the implementation of specific projects and initiatives and in terms of the performance of each goal. How much is the county doing to achieve each of the 7 goals included in the plan? The county will be sharing that information via annual reports, and that reporting process will be combined as part of the CIP and budgeting process so that it can feed into that discussion and help with teeing up and identifying projects and initiatives that will be funded as part of those planning processes. And finally, the plan will be amended over time. It will be amended on an annual basis. We call that revisions to the plan, where minor adjustments to the plan will be made to reflect projects or initiatives that have been implemented. Those can be taken off, and new projects and initiatives can be shifted forward into the short-term category. It could also include adjustments to address current challenges that the county might face. You never know when another recession might happen, and we want to make sure the strategic plan is acknowledging those types of fluctuations. The other type of amendment that will happen to the plan over time is the update to the strategic plan, and that's where you take a more holistic look, broader look at the plan and its goals to make sure that they are still current and fitting for the current times and the vision for the community. And that will happen on the heels of the comprehensive plan update. The schedule for that has the comprehensive plan update really wrapping up in the fiscal year 2020 and the strategic plan update process beginning on the heels of that plan update. Thank you all of the residents and business owners in James City County that came out to these public meetings. This is the last of the public meetings as part of the James City County 2035 strategic planning process. We appreciate your input. It's not over yet. If you weren't able to participate in one of the workshops today, there will be, for the next week, an online opportunity for you to provide your input about the projects and initiatives and how you want the county to be investing in its future. So make sure and go to the project website, which is jccstrategy2035.org, and you will find a link to that survey. We encourage you to do that. We've got a couple more meetings coming up with the Strategic Planning Advisory Group and the Technical Advisory Group as we make the final refinements to the strategic plan. And we'll be meeting with the Board of Supervisors to provide them the input from these workshops and from the online input at their work session scheduled for September 27th. And the adoption hearing for this plan is scheduled for November 22nd, which is the Tuesday before Thanksgiving holiday. So again, thank you so much, all of you, for your participation and staying plugged into this planning process. And we hope that you'll join us over the next few months as we wrap up the James City County's first strategic plan.